it's Matt Brown, and we're going to do Serve the Servants by Nirvana. So this one is tuned down a half step, every string down a half step. Let's talk about the chord that we have during the intro. I'll switch to clean and show that to you. So what we have is, the name of it, first off, is E13. So it's an E dominant chord, and if we look at string by string what we have, we've got a low E, then we've got a G sharp here with the first finger, then a D with the second finger, then we've got another G sharp. Now with the pinky, what we're going to do is bar the high E and B strings at the 14th fret. So what we get there is our C sharp and our F sharp, which would be our 13 and our 9th up there of the chord. So that's what, at the start of the song, we get that much of the chord. So we get the drum count, click, 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 and then the next bar we get, and then he slides out like that. So kind of a big fancy chord and a cool way to start the song. So now let's look at the verse riff that we have here. It goes like this. So, first off, I'll say that it's played a little bit differently each time, so there's a little bit of room for some variation that you can do with this. But mainly what he's doing is this. So that's what we're playing over this B7 shape here. Now you don't need your pinky finger because we're not going to use any of those strings. And then we have an open D there before we transition chords. Or you might see something like this over the B chord. So just, little slight differences. Okay, now what we have next is a piece of an E7 chord. Now, again, instead of fretting the whole thing like this, you really only need your second and pinky fingers. So you get this. And then an open D again. Or you might get like a low E at the end of that. To transition to the next chord. Sometimes when he's playing this riff, he's doing a little grace note hammer-on into it. Like that. So the next chord that we have is a really cool one that gets used in rock guitar fairly often. So this is an F sharp chord, F sharp 7, and we're adding the 11th of the chord in there as well. So you get these high ringing strings above your normal bar chord shape. So basically you're just taking an F sharp bar chord and not barring, so you have these open strings. So what he does over this chord is this. So it's like a 1, 2, and type thing, and then this. So he's sliding the pinky and 4th finger up, just playing those strings like that. To a big open E chord. So that's the whole riff. So I'll go through the whole thing slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. thing I neglected to mention is that at the end of the E chord, you can tell that he's kind of pulling off. There's like some synthetic vibration on beat 4 to the end of beat 4. So whether he's intentionally doing a pull off or it's just noise there going into the next chord, it's kind of hard to tell. Just, I'd say, use your judgment and do what sounds good to you. Part of the song we have to talk about is the chorus. So let's look at the chords. So it was sounding to me like most of the time when he's playing the first chord, he's playing just an A5 power chord here, like this. Now I'm using my second and third fingers to fret the notes, but you know, use whatever is good for you. And then he's leaving the high strings open in case he wants to hit them, which he occasionally does. So you see something like this. This is the general idea. It's not a specific thing that he plays it exactly the same over and over. So here it goes. So that's pretty much what's going on with the rhythm. Now the second chord, so just 2 chords here, is a C sharp major chord, but we're also fretting the low G sharp note on the low string, and high E is muted. So that's our second chord. So with the rhythm, we get kind of like a 1, 2, and 4 kind of rhythm, and then after that, you might get some like 16th notes to transition between chords like this. So he's not doing that 16th note thing every time, but some of the time. Now, there's a transitional part at the end, so when we're on the last time, we get this. Alright, so let's talk about that. So the last time we have, so the 16th note transitional things, strums will go into this F sharp 5 chord. And again, with this section, the rhythm he's doing, you don't have to do specifically what he does. It's just, he's just grooving with the drums and the bass. So make sure whatever rhythms you play, it grooves with that. So, and I like to do this with down strums because it just really seems appropriate with what the bass and drums are doing. So then the next chord is a C5 with a G in the bass. And then we're back to our nice little chord here. The only other thing to mention with the song is the chorus at the end. So it's twice as long, and there's an overdub track that comes in doing this. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So it's just this A5 power chord, and I think it sounds like he's playing it over here, and that makes sense because it's easier then to get to the bend, which is just a half step from C to C sharp. So that's it. That'll do it for this song. Be sure to check out the solo lesson to learn that. Alright, I'm Matt Brown. Stay tuned for more.